To plan your day and stay safe. From KCRG TV9, this is First Alert Weather Now.
And good evening, folks. It is the Wednesday edition of KCRG TV9's First Alert Weather Now. I'm meteorologist Corey Thompson.
And I'm meteorologist Rickman.
And thanks for joining us again tonight. It has been a very quiet weather week so far, but some of the coldest weather we've seen so far this season.
Yeah, we got our first frost, our first freeze, so the growing season's officially over. But we are going to see a little bit of a warming trend in the coming days.
How do the freezing temperatures make you feel, other than cold?
Pleasant. I've been waiting for it. I'm excited. I'm excited about it. I wish we had a few more of them coming up, but you know, 20s. Let's see. Last night we were down to what here? 26? Did I see that right?
I saw 27, but in that range. Yeah.
Yeah. Upper 20s last night. The frost night before. We'll get one more frosty night tonight. We are going to warm up after that, though.
Yeah.
If you're still wanting the warmer weather, wanting summer, it's still been slow to go.
Yeah.
We'll be back in the 70s. We still have that to look forward to. But
Indeed.
In the shorter term, what you need to know for the next 24 hours, we're going to be dealing with, like I said, a continuation of that frost. This is going to be our last frosty night for a while. Those temperatures will drop into the low to mid 30s overnight tonight. And then we are going to see that warming trend as we head through the rest of the upcoming week. Won't be getting quite as warm as we have the last couple of times we've had these warm-ups, just because we are getting later in the year. And frankly, there's just not as much warm air in the northern hemisphere to push our way, just because we're getting later in the fall, we're starting to cool off. We are going to be seeing dry conditions continue, though. There's no changing that. And that is going to lead to an elevated fire risk as we head into the day tomorrow. So the rest of your night, we're going to be nice and clear. Temperatures drop into the 30s for our overnight low. We're going to have south winds tonight. They're going to kick up tomorrow and combine with dry and warmer conditions to create an elevated fire risk. We're going to be having a fire weather watch over much of our viewing area. Those areas in purple are going to be seeing a red flag warning. There are several burn bans that are in effect as well across the area. More counties than not experiencing some level of burn ban. And tomorrow it's going to be windy as well. Gusts will get up to about 30 at times from the south. So we are going to be staying dry, which isn't great for that fire threat, but if you have outdoor activities, you are going to be in good shape for them.
Yeah, and meteorologist Joe Winters has today's forecast for fun.
The weather is always a factor in our plans, and we make plans to have some fun in eastern Iowa, so we give you your forecast for fun. Take a look at this. Updated from the Iowa DNR, we are now reporting peak color across northern, eastern, and northern Iowa. That'll be with us into the weekend. Should be beautiful, and near peak across the central part of the state as well. That includes Cedar Rapids over toward Maquoketa. Still some patchy color in the south, but that peak should be coming soon. Again, beautiful time to enjoy some color. There are some great leaves out there, and we want to see your fall foliage photos. Just send them through UNews on the KCRG First Alert Weather app. As we move forward, we are going to see fall activities tomorrow, feature some nice weather and a slow warming trend. We start in the 30s and end the day in the 60s. As we look at our Dining with Zombies forecast at Lion Bridge, yeah, there you go, 6 to 8 o'clock on Wednesday, 50s down to the 40s. Our Friday Night Lights forecast takes us to Independence at KCRG 9.2 broadcast at 7:30. Kickoff as West Delaware comes to town, 59, 53 in the fourth quarter. That chili cook-off still going on in Mount Vernon on Saturday from 4 to 7 p.m. Lots of chilies to sample. 73 degrees. The weather looks good. And it's the Fall Day Market at Lau Park in Marion. 73. Lots of fun from 9 until 3 o'clock. Lots of different activities. And don't forget, on Sunday at the Central Fire Station in Cedar Rapids, it's Truck or Treat. Family gathering from 1 to 3, and the weather looks good for that as well. In fact, the weather looks good for all of our forecasts for fun.
Now, your First Alert forecast with meteorologist Corey Thompson.
And just for clarity's sake, AJ was right. It was 26 in Cedar Rapids last night, even cooler than what I had seen earlier today, but everyone fell into those upper 20s. With the exception, Iowa City held on to a 30-degree reading overnight. So everyone, except for a very few very small locations, have achieved that hard freeze for the season. As AJ said, the growing season is over as a result. And the view of our Iowa City cam shows that the sun has set and temperatures falling, but not quite as rapidly as last night. 54 in Cedar Rapids at this hour, same in Dubuque, 57 in Waterloo. Winds instead of last night's northwesterly breezes are out of the south between about 5 to 10 miles per hour. That will put the brakes on our cooling process tonight just a little bit, enough that we may limit the overall extent of frosty conditions we're expecting during that time. Your First Alert highlights Patchy areas of frost overnight in yellow. We could see some more of that during the morning hours before things warm up again tomorrow. And those warmer temperatures tomorrow will be aided by those southerly winds. It's going to push our highs back above normal by a pretty significant margin by the time we get toward tomorrow afternoon. The area of high pressure has been giving us this quiet and calm weather that we experienced today. It's a pretty decent one out there thanks to those lighter winds that we've had. But the influence of this will be felt less and less as it continues to slide off to the southeast. We'll be on the warm side of this high as a result, and temperatures will be on their way up as a result. In fact, the warming trend continues into the weekend. Your first alert forecast overnight, though, still one of those chilly ones. Expecting around 31 in Maquoketa, 38 in Decorah, and 36 in Oskaloosa. Mostly clear skies looking likely with winds out of the south between about 5 to 15. You'll see it here on Pinpoint Futurecast. Not much to look at over the next several hours. Tomorrow morning, we start off with a lot of sunshine again, and we're going to see those sunny skies continue into the afternoon, too. But those wind arrows here on your screen coming from the south, red representing the warm air moving in. Moving pretty quick on your screen too, representing those higher wind speeds that we're expecting by the afternoon. But even those will ease a little bit tomorrow evening, but not quite as much as we're expecting tonight. Your first alert forecast for tomorrow, close to 70 degrees once again. Our normal high is 61, so we're going to be above that by 5 to 10 degrees in most cases. Everyone enjoying the sunshine too, and those wind gusts, as AJ showed you, getting close to 30 miles per hour during the early afternoon hours tomorrow. That's why we have that red flag warning in effect for the areas here in this bright pink, this tan color of fire weather watch. They're in effect for the same time period tomorrow. National Weather Service made the distinction because they are more confident in the winds being stronger the farther west in Iowa. That's why they went ahead with that warning already. Wouldn't be surprised if that gets expanded across more of the area tomorrow, as we're really going to have very dry air in place. Since those low relative humidity values, that's kind of the key for that potential for fire to spread really quickly. So tomorrow, just avoid any sort of outdoor burning if you can. Put it off to a different day when winds will be lighter. This weekend would be a good option. If you're doing some farming outside, a little bit of harvesting or whatever outdoor work that involves outdoor equipment, just make sure to pay close attention. If a fire does spark, put it out really quickly, and don't be haphazard with those discarding of cigarettes. We can't just throw those out the window tomorrow or really any day, but especially when these conditions are around. Now, we keep the breezy weather around on Friday. Friday, probably not a good idea to do any outdoor burning either. But this weekend is a bit of a different story. Winds will be lighter and temperatures will be staying on the warm side. In fact, as you saw from meteorologist Joe Winters, things should be in really good shape all around in terms of keeping really nice weather conditions around too. We'll talk a little bit more about a really slim rain chance we got on Monday night coming up in the next 9.
Well, looking forward to that. Looking forward to a chance at some rain as well. I know with the growing season coming to an end, it doesn't really have much of an impact on anything, but it'll just be nice to get some water in the ground and, frankly, give us a little bit of a change in our weather too, just something besides sunshine.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the key. You do want to get a little moisture in the ground this time of year because it doesn't go anywhere really once the ground starts to freeze. So it's good to set you up for spring a little bit.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, speaking of wet and dry weather, for this week's Climate Connection, I had a look at how we have done with dry weather so far and kind of an update on where we're at so far with rainfall this year. Also looked at where our precipitation would trend going forward, having a look not just at the 9-day, not just beyond the 9-day, but over the next couple years, couple decades, maybe beyond that. So with that, let's have a look at this week's Climate Connection. Well, for this week's Climate Close-Up, we're going to have a really in-depth look at the dry weather we've had and where we are at in terms of precipitation on the entire year. Our latest drought monitor did come out, and we're seeing that drought is getting worse. We have seen severe drought work its way into a lot of the northern parts of the viewing area. Compared to last week, that was a pretty significant worsening of the drought. We've also seen moderate drought expand across much of the northern and central parts of eastern Iowa. Now, as we have a look at our typical monthly precipitation rainfall total, it is normal for us to start to get drier. September and October are some of our drier months, and we will continue to get drier in terms of what we would typically expect for precipitation as we go through the rest of the year. However, it was still historically dry, especially in September. Cedar Rapids and Iowa City had their record driest Septembers. Dubuque and Waterloo were the second driest on record for them. Now, for a 2024 total summary on where we're at for this for our rainfall. I know this graphic is a little bit hard to read, so I'll explain it for you. Down the vertical axis on the left side of your screen, that shows the amount of precipitation in inches. Those increments are in 5 on each line, and it goes up to 35 inches. The horizontal axis that goes across the bottom of your screen is a show of the different dates that we have. Those start on January 9th, and they run all the way through the beginning of October on the right side of your screen. Now, what we can see on the brown line represents the average rate at which rainfall is supposed to accumulate as we go through the year. So as we go into the summer months, we see rain accumulate more quickly because we're getting more rain. And then we do start to see that curve kind of round off a little bit as we get less rain on average as we get into the fall months. The green line shows how much rain we have seen so far this year. So for much of the year, the green line was above the brown line, which meant that we were ahead on rainfall. There was a little period there where we were pretty close to average, and then during the last couple of months, we did see a good bit of rain that had us well above where we should be with rainfall. But it has just been so dry for the last couple of months that we have seen that green line and brown line kind of come together. So we're right about where we should be on the year in terms of rainfall expectations, but it's just not been much in the way of rainfall over the last couple of months, which is why we're seeing that drought creep back in. Now, over the last we have seen a change over the period of time where our rainfall has been increasing. So on average, 30-year average change from 2010 to 2020, we did see an increase in our average rainfall, and we'll continue to see, we would expect to see that average rainfall increase as we head into the future. Not the case across the rest of the U.S. though. The West has been getting drier. The average amount of rainfall has been decreasing there over the last 10 years. Over in the East, it has been increasing, and those are trends we would continue to see as we go into the future and as our climate changes.
Thank you, AJ. As we look into the very near future, we don't see a lot of rain out there in the next couple of days. Thursday is when things turn windy. In fact, by the afternoon, those gusts could get toward or exceed 30 miles per hour for a little period of time. Friday keeps the breezes going pretty good out of the south too, but I really want to highlight Saturday and Sunday. That is not highlighted here. It's kind of a reverse highlight because those winds will be much lighter, setting up what should be some really nice conditions as we head into the weekend. Monday brings the breeze back as a little storm system gets closer. But notice that things continue to warm slowly over the next few days. The more notable change is in our lows, from 35 degrees tonight to 47 degrees by the time we start off Sunday. And we'll see those lows continue to rise a little bit more as we get toward the early portion of next week. And that is all part of a temperature trend that keeps us above normal over the next several days. In fact, by this weekend, we're talking highs that are about 18 degrees or so above normal. Remember, our normal highs continue to turn lower, so 61 degrees today, but by the middle and end of next week, we're talking mid to upper 50s in terms of what you might expect this time of year. Now, with all of this going on, precipitation will be hard to come by. Our one chance arrives Monday night. Storm system moving through brings us those breezes during the day, but doesn't pull in a lot of moisture. It's a pretty slight chance, and if we do see rain out of it, it's likely to be pretty light. So if you're hoping to break some of that drought down, it's not going to be accomplished this week, at least as it appears right now. There is some indication there may be a hint of a storm system toward the very tail end of the 9-day by the following weekend. However, that's just outside of our forecast window. We're going to keep a close eye on it though, of course, and we always bring you the first alert to it when we know it. Thanks for joining us again tonight. We learned a lot, I think.
I think so too. Yeah.
All right, good. And we will be back again tomorrow night, same time, same place, with the latest look at your first alert forecast. Have a great night.